back to center, and opposite, up left, down right, and up left, and down right. Beautiful. Back to center. You're welcome to sit in your half lotus. You can let your legs out. Just 5 or 10 minutes here of a little bit of chatter on what's going to happen in here to prep us, and then we're going to spend the rest of the time on our bodies. I always love to enter practice with some sort of idea of what we're doing, right? Rather than just grabbing a strap and hoping for the best, kind of steering the ship, some ideas on what we're going to try to achieve in here. And as I look around the room, and you guys at home too, everybody has a different body. So the straps are going to help facilitate us maybe getting deeper into these poses. And maybe some of it's not right for you, and you'll back off, and maybe you'll find a whole new depth to the pose from the straps. So what are we looking to work with? Our whole body, right? So maybe break it down for a moment here to all the pieces. What are one of the pieces? The joints, right? We know what our joints are. They're all different. Some are hinged, some are ball and socket, all kinds of different joints. They're all lubricated. We want them to be lubricated. So when we talk about joints, we're talking about mobility. How much range of motion do you have in a joint? Whatever joint you want to pick, right? Whether it's flexion in your spine, or flexion up at your hip, or abduction of your hip. While we're going through this, I'll give you a bunch of cues and a bunch of ideas on what we're trying to mobilize, what position we're trying to put the joint in as we're going into these different poses. You will see that awareness of what you're doing and how you're trying to align your joints will allow you to go deeper into your poses. So kind of tricks of the trade, and that's what I'm trying to give you guys here today from all these years of doing, coming up with hopefully some cues that are easy to follow. So joints is the mobility, muscles is more what? Flexibility, right? So you can have really mobile joints and maybe too mobile in your joints, and your muscles can be not as flexible as we want them to be. So flexibility of muscles is the length of your muscle. Classic is hamstrings, right? When people forward bend, lots of people feel pulling in the backs of their hamstrings. That's flexibility, and that's what we can really work with the straps. And combining mobility and flexibility, you're halfway there with opening up the poses. Connective tissues also. Connective tissue comes in many different forms. I talk about fascia a lot, those of you guys who practice with me, and fascia is connective tissue. It's collagen fibers. They don't stretch. So we're not going to use the straps to stretch our fascia, but what we're using them for is to open up the pathways and let the fluid start to flow through. Between the layers of fascia, in through all the little vacuoles in the fascia, little hoses that irrigate the fascia as well. There's a lot going on in your bodies through yoga practice, and certainly helped facilitated by these straps. What are we looking for in this? Alignment, right? And everybody's going to have a different alignment. It's not a alignment, it's an alignment. So maybe you got a funky hip, or maybe you got a shoulder that's doing something. Maybe you've got some anomalies in your body that you're working with, and we'll honor that, right? So use your smarts and your ability to know when enough is enough. And just because I'm asking you to do something doesn't mean your body's ready for it. So sensation, right? Not pain ever. There's never an instance in our practice ever where we go into a pain zone. It can be sensational and kind of kicked up a little bit, but not to the point where this really hurts and should I be doing this? If you're asking yourself that question, the answer is no. Back off of it. Beautiful. It's not the teacher's responsibility to keep you safe, right? Of course we try to, but it's your responsibility ultimately to steer your own ship into safe waters. Moving fluids and shifting tides. Sensation, pain. I got through all this beautiful. We want to observe the pose when we're in it. It's not about, okay, what's happening next? Let's move on, but what is happening while we're in the pose? We've got 2 hours for this. I hope I'll get through everything that I want to present. And so what if I don't? We'll kind of linger in some of these poses and really investigate and explore what's going on in our bodies. You probably wouldn't be here unless this is something you wanted to do. Straps help us to feel the path and the direction that we want to move through. And when I came in today, I shared with Teresa, I love doing these things, especially new workshops, because I always figure out new stuff in my own body. And wait a minute, this would be a great addition to what we're already doing. So welcome to the laboratory. You are lab rats. And I love too, as we're going through this, you think, hey, what about this? Well, share it with me. Maybe not on camera or something, but after, like, what do you think about this? And sometimes I get my best material from you guys fooling around with this stuff too. So this is very serious stuff, and we have to take this to the extremes of seriousness in here, right? No, this is play, this is fun, based on some sort of science and awareness of what we're doing. So let's see if we can really unwind ourselves for the next 2 hours and emerge from this with a little bit deeper knowledge base maybe, and a better way that you can practice at home with a simple strap. So I say simple strap, and I know Teresa will agree, sometimes we use straps in the room and things go crazy. People are not real savvy with how the straps will work. So maybe you all have brand new straps here, and you guys at home, let's just be sure we know what we're doing to set up the strap, right? There's 2 loops on the end of your strap, or on your guys, you guys just slide it through. It's the same idea. Just go ahead and practice to be sure that it's secure. Maybe this is new for you. Maybe it's like, dude, I know how to put a strap together, but you'd be surprised. Slide it through one and then down through the other. Does that make sense? So that when you pull on it, it doesn't open up. So at home, you guys do the same thing, and see if you guys can figure this out in here. So it goes through the bottom one and over through the top, right? And then you have a little tail end on it that you can pull. Yes? No? There you go. Right on. So the strap shouldn't just open up once you get that thing through. We'll give you a second to work with that. Trouble in paradise? You got it? It's just new, right?
Yeah. It's like, see what we're talking about.
I think you went through the wrong one first, sweetheart. So the inside one, I believe. Yeah. And then it pulls through, but it is new strap, definitely. It is. So what we're going to do in a moment is untighten them too, because the first thing we do is that there we go, comes through, and then it's going to push through that. If you guys are having trouble with this as we're going through, maybe Teresa can help, and if not, I will be happy to assist. Okay. Let's everybody stand up. Would you unlock this one for me first? Thank you. Okay. What is one of the foundational poses that comes to mind for you guys when we talk about foundation poses in yoga? Mountain, exactly. Tadasana, Sanskrit for mountain pose. Mountain pose is probably one of the most important alignment poses and stability poses that we can learn. Everything comes off of Tadasana, the mountain pose. I hope that what I'm about to show you with this strap makes things clearer for you and not more confusing. Tadasana is not just a physical thing too. It's a energetic pose, right? So what are we talking about with energetics? We're talking about the bandhas. We're talking about the vayus. Bandhas, you guys know bandha? Bandhas are energy locks, right? So Mula Bandha, low down. Uddiyana Bandha is our thoracic bind, and Jalandhara Bandha is your throat bind. So why do we need to use those bounds? Why are we using, what is that all about in yoga, and what is it about in real life? Anybody want to venture? Keeping your energy in place, I like that. How about your physical body? What does it do for our physical bodies? Keeps us aligned and keeps us stable in our foundation. So what I'm going to do is, after we get set up, is come around and show you what I mean with a little finger touch, but you can drop your straps for just a moment. And what I'd love for you to do at home and in here, go into your version of Tadasana. And if you don't know what Tadasana is, just fake it. Just find your best alignment, right? So where do you go? And you don't have to answer this. Where do you go with your Tadasana? Where do you start? Kind of your head, your bellies, your feet. Feet. I love for you to start with your feet. It's foundational, right? We need to find the ground underneath us. But it's not about pressing down through the crown of your head. And I know I practiced for years thinking this. It's not, right? Our feet press into the ground, and then we rise to the occasion. So how do you find those bandhas? It's very hard to describe it, subtle body action. Sometimes I talk about drawing an egg or an elevator up into your pelvis. That's your pelvic floor. You feel something drawing up there? Maybe. And then we talk about pulling the belly button back towards the spine a little bit. That's thoracic bind. And then we talk about the chin dropping a bit for your Jalandhara Bandha. So remember, guys, it's not pulling the head back. And I know we've talked about this. That's the pie in the face thing. This is more lengthening the back of the skull and tucking your chin. So I hope, let's go through this without the strap first, and then we'll add the strap. And I think it adds a whole new dimension of understanding Tadasana. Okie doke. Let's stay with our feet hip distance apart like you're standing on railroad tracks, all right? Lift and fan your toes. Take them off the floor, then go ahead and put them back down again. So remember, our feet look like our shoes these days. We want our feet to be broad and spread and not all crunched together if possible. So the big toe, the little toe, and the heel press into the ground like a tripod of your feet, right? The cuboid bone is the one on the outside of the foot. Go ahead and push that one down towards the ground. And what happens there is some arches, your medial arches in your feet start to inspire. I can see it. Beautiful. Put your hands on your thighs. Give a little push back with the thighs, and then bring your tailbone down towards the ground. So the old days, we used to say, tuck your tailbone, right? Now it's straight down to the ground. Maybe a little something pulls in. Tighten your glutes a little bit, not your full force. And then take your hands and open them. Little fingers by your thighs. From the elbows down, turn the palms and middle fingers approximate towards the floor while the crown of the head shoots through the roof. Tadasana. So I'm here for a strap workshop, and we haven't even really touched the straps yet. Let's do it. Grab your straps. They're opened up. And I love your honest opinion as we go through this. Does this ring true? Does this give you some new sense of how we find Tadasana? So take your strap and let's put it underneath the outside border of the foot. So not down by your toes, but halfway down the foot in that cuboid bone. Take the strap, they're long straps. You don't have to wrap it around your hands so that there's a little bit of tension on the strap. Okay, Go back through your checklist. Lift your toes, big toe, little toe, heel. Now we've got the strap here. Push the side of your foot down into the strap and hold it in place. Inhale. And on your exhale, start to pull up with your hands. It's more of an idea of it. And at the same time, push your feet deep down into the ground. Do you feel anything come up into your pelvis there? A little bit of something. That's your pelvic floor. Up into your transversus abdominis muscle. And if you pull a little bit harder, maybe it feels like your chin wants to tuck. Right on. Those are your bandhas, friend. Hold on to your strap and see if you can slowly start to lessen the amount of pull up and push down and still maintain your alignment. So if I come over to somebody and I give them a little bit of push, she has no idea what I'm doing here. Do you see this beautiful lady here? She's not moving. She's stable, right? Same thing. If I come over and give her a little bit of push, you're not moving. If you're willing to do this, let go of the strap a little bit and just kind of let go of some of your awareness. You're an easy target now, right? To come over. So watch this. I'm moving her around and go ahead and ignite again. Push down, look at you. Fantastic. And she's stable. So what does that mean? So what? I mean, what does that even mean? Why is that going to be more productive or beneficial? That's the word I'm looking for, than not to stand like that. Anybody? Why do we want to do this versus this? Alignment, but ultimately, if you continue to do this, you're going to do it when you go to pick something up and everything's going to move around versus coming up, approaching something and moving it back to you. You will learn that this is not how you stand all the time, but this is your return to. Does anybody not feel like that's beneficial? Does anybody feel like this is ridiculous? I'm never going to stand like this. This is your return to. This is where you come back to. And then after you find it, walk out of it and walk around with a sense of holding this stable, not just walking across the room. And I'm not really exaggerating so much. Watch people walk around the world. And then you wonder, why do you have back pain? Right? Why is my hip degenerated? Why does my neck hurt? Coming back to this Tadasana position, and I believe that this strap has helped me to find it, is a wonderful way to start the whole practice. So close your eyes. Readjust whatever you need to. Envision the bandhas. And envision the vayus. I've talked about vayus in the past. It's the winds in our body. Grounding and lifting are two of them. So you're doing them right now concurrently, grounding, and you're lifting at the same time and creating this stable platform. You all look beautiful, just peaceful and connected to the ground, right? Rather than just kind of floating. That's awesome. So maybe practice your Tadasana with your belt if that feels like it's helpful for you. All right, let's move on and we'll use our straps now to open up our shoulders. So real quick anatomy lesson, back to the joints again. What kind of joint is your shoulder? Any anatomists? Beautiful, it's a ball and socket. It's as simple as that. It's a ball that fits into a socket. The ball is your arm bone, and the socket is what? Maybe you never thought about it. What's the socket? Your shoulder blade, right? So the alignment wants to be thus that the ball can stay in the socket. So as we bring our arms up over our head, go ahead and do it in flexion. That's called shoulder flexion. What's happening with your shoulder blade? It's as your arm lifts, your shoulder blade rotates so that the ball will stay in the socket. So here, to get you thinking a little bit, Often I'll ask somebody to bring their arm up into flexion and it gets stuck there. There can be a million different reasons why. One of them could be that your thoracic spine is too flexed. And if you bring your arm up, your shoulder blade can't round the bend and you get stuck in that. So do you want to take the strap and force your shoulder into flexion? No, you don't. So it's a combination of opening up that thoracic spine and getting the mobility in your shoulder blade. This is a long-winded way of saying, as we're going through this, if it doesn't feel right for you to come up through it, don't complete the range of motion. Just work through what feels right for you. We want to have as much mobility in our shoulders as we can. And as we get older and start to slump forward like this, we lose a lot of that ability. So chair pose is one of them. I see this a lot, right? People sit back in chair, they're rounded and they bring their arms up and they don't go. Let's not even use the legs, but let's just use our arms here. Round your upper back and bring your arms up over your head. You can't do it. Bring your chest tall and see how your arms come up, right? So as we're going through this, we don't want to be like this. We want to be as open as possible. That's why I started with Tadasana. Okay. Take your straps. Let's start with our hands wider than the strap, and our feet are Tadasanized to the earth. Touch the strap to your thighs. Pull your belly in. Let's try not to move the spine, just the shoulders. Inhale your arms up. Exhale. How are we going to get them behind us? Try not to do a lot of this, but you're going to need to widen the hands a little bit and take them back behind you. Yikes. Catch the bottom of your rib cage. Trap the strap between your elbows and your side body. We just talked about bandhas, right? Let's pull our bandhas in. This is a really good one too. Inhale. Exhale. Push your hands forward, but push your low ribs back into the strap. Feel anything happening in your bellies there? That's transversus abdominis. That's your pelvic floor. That's all our deep core. Release slowly. Find your big wingspan. Round the bend, come up and touch down. Fantastic. That felt easy enough. Shrink it up a little bit. If it felt too difficult, widen it. Inhale up. We're in Tadasana still. Exhale, Tadasana. Take it back and around. Beautiful. Nice face. Tuck in nice and tight. We always get out of that one. Push your hands forward. Push the low ribs back. Beautiful. Release. Find your wingspan. And go ahead and do a bunch more of these. This is the beauty of all the time we have here. Investigate. So what I notice is your legs are so stable, beautiful. You've got your Tadasana. You're not trying to get around what we're trying to loosen up. This motion, just so you know, is called circumduction of your shoulders. It's a combination of everything. All the rotation, flexion, extension, abduction, all of it. So take a few concentrated, slow, easy breaths and see as you're doing this, maybe you shrink the hands up a little bit and things start to lubricate and open. Nice. It's not the end of the world if you move your legs and move around a little bit, but you're just not getting what we're looking for in opening the shoulders. All right. Let's go ahead and meet back. Tadasana legs. Arms come up overhead, and let's drop the right elbow on the crown of the head. Left hand grabs the strap. Tadasana again. Inhale. Exhale. Start to pull on the strap. And what's opening first? Your shoulder blade, do you feel that? It's kind of pulling up on the rib cage. Let that left ear bow in towards the left shoulder a little bit. Give a press of the right foot into the earth and see if you can open up right to the waistline. So no shifting of the pelvis yet. Bottom of ribs, top of pelvis coming apart a bit. The ribs opening in your neck. Inhale back up. And exhale, let's switch.
Left elbow goes across the front of the head. Give a pull with the right hand. Start to open up the ribs. Press the left foot into the ground and the waistline lengthens a little, not yet into side bend so much. Come the other way. Good. Inhale.
Take them up and exhale. Go back to the other side. Go ahead and do a few of those. Pressing down with right foot as you pull. This is latissimus dorsi muscle up your side body. Beautiful. Start to think about what we talked at the beginning, starting to shift the fluids now, opening up the layers. Let's meet with the right arm on top. Left hand grabs the strap. Same thing to begin. Pull with the strap, open up the ribs. Push the right foot into the earth. Please don't rotate, but shift your pelvis over to the right. There's a whole nother stretch. Shift the pelvis over to the right. Oh my goodness, right waistline and rib cage, snap, crackle, pop. Inhale, back up you go.
And exhale, switch. Bend the left elbow. Pull with the right hand, open the rib cage. Press the left foot into the ground, start to open the waistline, and then shift the pelvis over to the left a little bit. Muscle quadratus lumborum in your side body. Bottom of ribs, top of pelvis. Pull yourself back up on the inhale and the exhale. One more to each side. Feel free to add in anything that your body feels like you might need. See how what I meant about the strap guiding us into place. You've got something that you can use to slide your hands down or whatever position we happen to be in. All right, let's go ahead and bring it back up again. Let's take our straps now and fold them in two. Now you'll know why we want 10-foot straps. This is called the loop end, right? The one that has the loop on it. Let's go ahead and take it over our right shoulder. That's this hand, the right hand. Let it lay over your shoulder so that the loop is in front by your belly button. Nice. Okay, anatomy lesson. This is your carotid artery underneath here. If you'd like to faint, be sure that your strap is right over your carotid artery and you're almost guaranteed to go down. Let's not. Put it over your upper trapezius. It's this motor point in here. You're going to love this. Okay, so the loop is by your belly button. Grab behind you, grab your strap, the tail ends, and put them through the loop. So behind you, take that behind you. There you go, sweetheart. Beautiful. So this one I came up with as I was walking when I used to live in San Francisco down the hills with my messenger bag. I remember pulling down on it and thinking, oh my God, that feels good. My upper trapezius is held down rather than up by your ear. So just start with that. Can you feel the anchoring of that right upper trapezius? Right down it goes. What do you think might come next? How are we going to get a stretch of that right upper trap? Take your left ear towards your left shoulder. How does that feel? Left ear, left shoulder. When the right one is held down. Anybody feel a little bit of
burning and sensation going on there? Yes. I think some of you might have to check which is right and which is left, just as a friendly reminder. Come on back up. Inhale your head back up. Okay, let's look up to the right. I think I'll turn around so you can see. Up to the right and down to the left. There's a stretch, kids. Chin towards left shoulder. You got it. Up to the right and down to the left. Let's do one more. Up to the right and down to the left. Bring it back to center point. Go ahead and milk your cow. Go ahead and pull down on that a little bit more. All right, let's switch and do the other side. So take the strap out, the loop,
Switches over to the left side, across from your belly button. Grab behind you, right hand grabs strap and comes through the loop in the front. Yeah, beautiful. Take your strap now, it's on your upper trapezius and perhaps the microphone. Give a pull down, anchor in place. Maybe let that left hand just soften down, like you got a weight in your hand and it's soft. Inhale, and on your exhale, go ahead and bring your right ear towards that right shoulder, upper trapezius. Yummy. Pull it back to center on the inhale. And on the exhale, right ear into right shoulder. Maybe close your eyes and do a few of these back and forth. Beautiful. And do your diagonals now. Look up to the left and down to the right. There's a beautiful release. Think of the joints in your spine, maybe. Think of the musculature. Think of the fluids shifting through us. Beautiful. And let's release. One pose that most people are not so fond of in yoga is our Gomukhasana, our cow arms, right? This thing, like, oh no, I hate that. Well, hopefully the strap will make it a little bit easier for you. Take your strap. Let's hold the buckle, the end. If you have ring, and if not, just hold on to the end of it with your hand. Take your right arm over your shoulder, over your head. Yep. And your left hand on that right elbow. Let's see if you can take the right arm back behind you a little bit so you're not pushing your head forward. Left hand will come behind and grab onto the strap. Perhaps your flexibility is there and you can just join your fingers and maybe you're a whole world apart. So wherever you are, again, fantastic face, young lady. Low ribs in. I'm almost tempted, Teresa, for you to turn the camera and be on her face for this. It's fantastic. It's just so classic. Beautiful. Hang on here. Find your ground, stable Tadasana leg. Right elbow pointed to the heavens. Left elbow ideally towards the floor. And start to creep one hand up and the other one down. Yeah. Back to Tadasana. Find the breath. Maybe you can target in, where is that resistance? Is it in the shoulder? Is it lats? Feed into the spot that feels like it needs to be nourished, and maybe you soften a little bit. Delicious. I wonder what's coming next, right? Let the other side. So let that left hand slide down. Yeah. Switch your arms, take left on top. Find that position first, right? Take the elbow back, elbow to sky, dangle down. This time the right hand is behind you. If you are, right-handed, chances are that right hand is not going to be nearly as high. Same on me. It's all the bulk of the rotator cuff, overuse. See if you can linger longer on the side that feels a little bit more direct. Maybe close your eyes, maybe don't. See if you can maybe get your elbows, lefty to the heavens, righty to the earth. Still in Tadasana legs. Everybody's looking good here. Take one or two more breaths. Grace, I think we're going to have to do a 4-hour workshop because I'm no way going to get through everything that I have on these pieces of paper in front of me here. Part 2, exactly. Everybody's still smiling, so I think we're still on track here. Good. Okay, go ahead and release. What are 2 areas of your body that you feel, maybe your own personal body, or how about in general, these days in Western world, that are most restricted on us as humans? Shoulders, hamstrings, and thoracic spine of ours. Cervical spine, 7 vertebrae, thoracic spine, 12 vertebrae, lumbar spine, 5 vertebrae, and then your sacrum fused bones. This is not a great representation of our thoracic spine. He's got a very flat thoracic spine. Thoracic spines are supposed to be a little rounded. They are. It's called kyphosis. We have a dance of our curves. If our thoracic spine was flat, your neck would be back like this. You want some roundedness of the upper back so that the head can slide into place. So what's the problem? It's too rounded from all of this, everything that you're doing in your forward fold. So what we're going to do is mobilize. Remember, we talked about mobilization, the joints. We're going to mobilize our thoracic spine. Well, of course we are. So this comes from my physical therapy world. I love this. And I love that we have this here so you can see what I'm going to do. These are the bottoms of your scapulae, your shoulder blades, right? We're going to take the strap. We're going to try to wedge it. Oh, this is good. Right underneath that spinous processus. We're going to pull it around front, and we're going to take our arms up a little bit. So envision here, friends, and he's fused, we're not. As I pull up on the strap, can you see how it's going to catch that vertebrae? We're going to back bend over the strap to mobilize. Okay, I'm going to snag. Well, too late. So she's already started. She's got the strap going. And what's the first thing she did? That. So not to pick on you or anything, but that's what everybody does. Why that versus that? Because that's already so mobile. This is a beautiful time to say this. This is one of my favorite expressions too. We tend to move from our most hypermobile segments. We keep going into the ones that already move too much, and we don't move the ones that ideally should be moving. So give me a moment here just to show you what I'd love to see. Comes under the armpits, and you just saw a beautiful visual of that, right? I'm going to find my Tadasana legs. I'm going to push forward with my hands, and I'm going to take it up to catch that vertebrae. There'll be no neck movement, and there'll be no low back movement. There's going to be very little thoracic spine movement. So everybody wants, I can move further than that. Well, you can, but you're not going to be moving in the vertebrae we're looking for. These guys are fairly hypomobile. They don't move all that much. So see if you can find that yummy spot where it's just from thoracic spine. Find your Tadasana legs, maybe even slightly bent knees if that feels more stable. Inhale. Exhale. Push forward with your hands and slightly up. You're locking that facet joint in place. Keep the gaze forward and see if you can raise with your hands. And can you feel that in that thoracic spine of yours? Beautiful. And then come flex a little bit. It's not that we don't ever want to flex, but we want more extension. Let's do that a few times. Push forward with the hands, up. Open up through thoracic spine, no neck or low back. Maybe you'll even get a little snap or crack and come back into flexion. Go ahead and do one more exactly like that. Good. I've got you all petrified now about moving your heads. Awesome. Beautiful. Scare tactics. Awesome. Okay, kids. So what's happening next? What I'd love for you to do is mobilize 4 different segments. So look at this. There's not very much space to get to the next one, right? So it's only about 1/4 of an inch. Slide it down your back a little bit to the next vertebrae that's below those armpits. And répétez, same thing. Press forward, come up, lock in place, find a dristy, a focal point, and see if you can back bend. Oh my goodness, does that feel good? Right through your thoracics, flex. And I say repeat each one 3 or 4 times. And let's do 4 different segments. So listen to the wisdom in your own body. Try not to move the neck if at all possible, and work through each one of those vertebrae. Envision the de-rounding of the upper back, and instead moving it towards that less rounded position. How are we doing here, Teresa? Because I zoomed in before. So what I'd love to propose right now, let's say you're watching the evening news or whatever, rather than sitting in your couch, yes, I said in it, stand up, grab your strap, and watch the news while you're going through things that are going to be so beneficial for your system. I suggest that you do these 4 vertebrae in here. Those are usually the ones that are the most stiff on everyone. So that's thoracic spine mobilization. Okay. This next one is perhaps my favorite thing that I do with straps. I always get such great feedback on this, and I've been teaching this for years. This is a wonderful sensory input for you to hold stability during the day. I'm envisioning so many of my clients, a lot of nurses and physicians, people who are bent over during the day. This is a wonderful thing to use while you're driving or sitting at your desk. Let's see if we can get through it. Take your strap, it's folded in half. Take it underneath your armpits. We just had it there in that same position for the thoracic spine opener, right? So you got equal length of your straps on either side. Watch any sort of person next to you, or maybe that computer, that we don't knock anything over. Take your straps and throw them over your back like backpack straps. Reach back, grab the tail ends, and pull them down. That already feels good, doesn't it? Take the straps now and cross them. And I learned this term not long ago. Razorback, is that right? Razorback. I thought it was racerback. Razorback bra. So if you're a little bit heavier in the chest, always a good idea to wear a crossbar kind of support, and this is what it is. Give it a little pull. Good. Take your strap now and see if you can figure out how to loop it. And this is not, I'll just say it, a boob support. This is a thoracic bind. So it should not be right underneath your chest. It should be on the bottom of the rib cage. Uddiyana Bandha. Thoracic bind. See why we need long straps? I've tried to teach this. Sometimes the straps are too short and everybody's like, I can't get it buckled up. So what's this going to do for us? If you really wanted to, you could schlump out of this, right? But this gives you the sensory input of holding low ribs in and feeling this point here as your opener. How does that feel? So maybe next time you're driving over to Chicago or down to Florida or wherever you're going and you're in the car and kind of like, oh my God, I can't sit here any longer. Wear this thing and it helps. Or if you're going to be at your computer for longer than you want to be, try this as well. And just a really nice way of pulling our whole alignment in. Close your eyes for a moment and go into your Tadasana. Big toe, little toe, heel, cuboids. Quads tighten a little bit, thighs push back. Tailbone descends, low ribs already pulled in. Chest comes tall. Turn the palms forward Little fingers to thighs. And palms touch thighs, middle fingers down towards the outside ankle bones. If a stiff wind came through here, you would not be blown over. Okay, come open your eyes. This is a good time too to teach you what I call beach breathing. This is one of my favorites. So pretend you're standing down at the lake somewhere, you're all by yourself. How are you going to stand if you're all by yourself? Probably just hanging out, right? Or maybe your belly forward a little bit. Somebody starts walking up the beach. You're not sure who it is yet. They might be of interest. So what are you going to do? You're going to pull your belly in. You know you are. You're not going to stand like that. Pull your belly in. So beach breathing is lightly engaging your belly back to your spine. So again, if the wind comes by or your old friend comes by and says, hey, Shelly, how's it going? And I give you a push or a high five, she's still going to hang there. We're not just going to knock her right over. Thoracic jackets can be worn for hours at a time. People often ask, how long can I wear it until it doesn't feel right? When should I wear it? I usually don't recommend that it's the first thing you put on, right? So maybe you've been sitting at your desk for a while or driving for a while and you're getting tired. That's when you slip it on at that point to hold yourself in place. Okay, go ahead and de-strap. Yeah, you forget it's on. It's a little high on you there, girl. Maybe a little lower by your ribs. Okay, let's try this one now. So we'll take our straps and make a loop. They're hopefully starting to loosen up a little bit now. And loop through. And like you're stepping into a garment. Go ahead and put it around. We take it up so it's at least halfway up your thighs. So there's a muscle while you're doing this on the side of your hips here called gluteus medius. Okay? Those of you who practice with me know as we step forward onto one leg and pick up the other leg, we rely on this gluteus medius to hold us in place so it doesn't pop off to the side. So a wonderful way to find your gluteus medius is with this strap, maybe a little lower. There you go, perfect. So you don't have a gluteus medius. Well, let's see if we can pull some muscle fibers in. Beautiful. Lift and fan your toes. We've got Tadasana legs again. Take your hands and put them on the sides of your hips here, right? So they're not going to be way back on gluteus maximus. They're on the side here on gluteus medius. The bone is right there. Inhale. On your exhale, start to push your legs out into the strap. So push them apart. Do you feel those muscles pull into your hips? Your strap's too high, Shelly. Lower it down a little bit. So we should be able to feel those two muscles kind of pop into the sides of your hips there. And then release them. Inhale. Exhale, push them out. Find the support. And release them. So if you're having trouble finding your gluteus medii, this is probably a good way to encourage the firing up of gluteus medius to work as a stabilizer. It's another muscle that helps us do this. Often this muscle is trained, you're on your side and you raise your So you could wear this thing in the kitchen while you're chopping vegetables to make use So Paschimottanasana are seated forward fold, right? I practice always on a blanket. If you just do on the floor, then be on the floor. If you're on a blanket or maybe even a bolster, whatever your regular practice is, we'll go ahead and take the strap, open it up pretty wide. Yep. We'll take it around our upper back and underneath our shoulders, and around the bottoms of your feet. You want the tail end, well, you can give it a little bit of a tug. See if we can all find that position. So those of you who practice with me while you're getting your straps in place, what happens in Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold without instruction, is everybody does this, right? They kind of try to come down and touch their toes. The idea is that we're trying to flex in at the hips and tilt the pelvis forward. So what I'll ask you to do first is adjust the strap so it's tight enough and not going to slip. You'll use your hands, just watch first. And I'm going to pull isometrically with my hands, meaning no movement, release, and then come forward a little bit. Then I'll tighten up my strap. And I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to push my back to the strap, release, and pull forward and tighten it up again. You with me? Let's try it. Find your start position, flexed hips, tilted forward pelvic bowl. Try to get the idea here of hamstrings lengthening, hips flexing, pelvis tilting. Let's start. Inhale. Exhale. Pull your hands back towards your hips isometrically. Release and see if you can come forward a little bit, flexing at your hips. Tighten up the belt. Let's do the opposite. Inhale. Exhale. Push your back towards the strap, round it a little bit. Release it and come forward. Tighten up your strap. Pull with the hands isometrically. Draw the crown of the head towards the toes. Release and flex forward. Tighten up the strap. So let's go on an adventure here. Maybe keep your eyes closed if it feels comfortable for you. If you'd rather keep your eyes open, by all means do so. And go back and forth with that, maybe 10 different times. Pull with your hands isometrically. Release, deeper into it, tighten the strap. Push your spine into the strap. Release and fold forward, tighten the strap. Yup. And do it very slowly and incrementally here. There's no goal or target, just to see if you can find the stability, yep, with the strap, using our contract, relax, helping to move into deeper pose. Let's keep this in silence for a moment here and really see what you can eke out. This is our definition of practice right here. Envision yourselves at home in your own quiet space, cued into all these ideas and how to deepen the poses. There is no limit to it, right? Who knows how far we can get into our poses, using our props and our smarts to find those access points. Take another breath or two, and I'm just watching all of your beautiful bodies start to
fold and soften. Good. Go ahead and release the strap from the bottom of your feet. Inhale your arms straight up to the sky. Find an L shape. Inhale and exhale. Fold forward and see what your motion feels like. Is that any different? Certainly looks different from my vantage point here. That's beautiful. All right, roll yourself back up. This one is hot off the presses. Just came up with this one yesterday. You guys who practice again know my open book sequence that we do, where you're on your side and have your head rest on something if that feels comfy. Palms are together. And we trace the hand up, over, and around. Snap. Beautiful. So what are we going to do with our strap? We're going to hold one end of the strap. Start your hand close in. Inhale. On the exhale, take your hand up and lengthen out the strap. It keeps you in your position. And take it over. And see if you can get the back of your hand to touch the floor as the strap comes across the chest. You'll bring yourself back up again and start your hand back down again on the bottom of the strap. It's just a pathway, a guidance. So start on your side, doesn't matter either side. Hips, knees, and ankles up to 90 degrees. Glue your knees and ankles together. So we're going to roll from our ribs up. Inhale. On the exhale, one hand is holding the loop end. Other hand traces up the strap, take it up to the sky, and see if you can put it right across the top of the chest. And look over at your right hand as you move into your rotation. Beautiful. Pause for a moment there. Good. Inhale your hand back up to the sky. You'll slide where the origin is. And maybe do 2 more of those. Use the strap to leap up. Beautiful. Hips, knees, and ankles 90 degrees if possible. And see if you can find the rotation through that thoracic spine. Pausing at the end of the range for a moment. And then coming back through it. And maybe do 1 more. And really linger there. Figure out where your spots are that might feel a little restricted. And we titled this the unwind with the stride. Here's your unwind. Delicious. Inhale the hand back up, come back palm to palm, and then go ahead and roll over on your other side and do 3 long, slow, deep repetitions. Starting palm to palm, hold on to the loop end, inhale. You got it, exhale, bring it over. See what this side feels like. The strap is your guide. Beautiful. Open up, turn your gaze, watch your neighbor. Go ahead and close her down. You got 2 more. Find your pace, your rhythm. Beautiful. So if your arm doesn't quite touch the ground yet, that's something to just kind of monitor as time goes on. Watching the progressions in our bodies. Beautiful. On your last one, go ahead and hold it open for a breath or 2 and release any tensions or hold that might be going on. Beautiful. Go ahead and bring it back up again and back to your start position. Beautiful. I know you can probably all take a nap right now. Come sit up before you end up going out on me. Go on, sit up. Okay, now you're gonna have to work. Sorry, but that's part of it too. Give you a little science behind this and let's go into it. So stretching is not just static stretching, right? Where we take a belt or whatever and we just hold it. It's not always just that. It's also dynamic. It's getting the muscles contracting and relaxing and all the energies moving through. This again comes from my physical therapy world, and then we're going to combine it in with the yoga stuff. So let me demonstrate for you first what's up. I think I've done this once or twice in class. It's not usually everybody's favorite, but you know how that goes. You can take the strap on the bottom of your foot. And what we're going to do here is we're going to straighten our leg and just see where the end range is, right? So if you can't straighten your leg, then lower your hip down a little bit. What we don't want is any of this. Okay. I'm going to bend my knee and I'm going to straighten it, not with the strap, but with my quadricep, right? I'm going to straighten my leg. See that? Using my quad. Science tells us that when you're using your quad for contraction, the hamstring, the opposite muscle group, the antagonist, softens. So here's what it looks like. Bend your knee, use your quad to straighten it, and then use the strap to stretch it. So not just yanking it up, but quad straightens, strap stretches. We're going to do 10 of these. Then we're going to turn out at the hip. There are 3 different hamstring muscles. So 3 positions. Use the quad again to straighten it and use the strap to stretch it. And I'm sure in your brilliance, you can figure out the 3rd position is to turn it this way and drop the heel down. Quad straightens and we stretch. Not that, but that. Hamstrings. Let me get you started. And then you can go at your own pace. So we're on the right leg. The left leg is bent. The foot is on the floor. The sacrum is down. And the long neck. Beautiful. Bend your right knee. Straighten it using your quadricep. And then use the strap to give it a little bit of a pull and stretch your hamstring. Delicious. Bend the right knee. Straighten it using your quad. And then use the strap for the stretch. Bend it. Use your quad to straighten. And use the strap to stretch. You got it. Beautiful. Try to keep your sacrum down. And don't round your backs. Good. Go ahead and do maybe 6 more, 7 more, depending on where you were at. Nice and slow. Eking out the end range. Maybe 3/4 of your full strength of your quad as you straighten. And then a nice little pull with the strap. Envision your hamstrings from your sit bones down below your knee to your fibula to your tibia, getting a nice lubrication and opening. Maybe 2 more. The other side you'll do completely on your own. It's hard to keep everybody at the same pace. Just want to be sure you know what you're doing here. Good. Take your right heel and put it on your left knee so your hip's going to turn out. Yep. Keep the leg turned out. Inhale, exhale, straighten out the leg. The toes go to the back corner of the room. And then use the strap to pull the toes towards the pickleball court over there. Beautiful. Keep the leg turned out in external rotation. Put the heel back down onto the knee. We'll do the same thing. Straighten it out using the quad. And then pull with the strap to move the toes towards the back corner of the room. Yep. Go ahead and do 10 total of those. So this will get more of that medial inside piece of your hammies. You should start to warm up now, right? Starting to feel some of the heat generated, the tapas in our bodies. Shifting tides, those fluids, changing viscosity of fluids. Beautiful. Probably one or two more of those. Good. Come on back to your neutral. Now you're going to turn it out. So bend the knee to 90 degrees, turn the heel out. Yep. Use your quad to straighten your leg and then pull your toes towards the door. We walked in over there. There you go for most of you. Beautiful. Bend it. Use your quad to straighten and then the strap to stretch. So the strap doesn't straighten your knee, your quad does. We're trying to use our science here to help to unwind these hamstrings. Good, 10 of those, please. Total, keeping your sacrums down, warming your hammies, strengthening your quads. And tomorrow, when your quads are sore and you can't remember why, this is why. Like, why are my quads sore? Yes.
We will send love to you.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thinking of you.
Thank you very much.
So now you're on the honor system. It's kind of foolish not to do it, but it's your choice. Switch your strap to the other leg. You can be one of those people who are 1, 2, 3, 10, or go through all 10 of them. Start with your leg in straight leg raised position, and then move to heel to knee, and then heel to the outside. It should take you a few minutes to get through this. And then we're going to work our favorite 5-way bolt stretch on our hamstrings and lower backs. This is kind of prep to warm up. Awfully quiet. Should be complaining usually at this point, like, oh. This is usually a good one if the classes get too big to bust this one out and lose a few people each time. I'm not going back. I'm not going to that. Nice, guys. Beautiful. Feel the warmth and the release. Maybe without knowing so much about the science, it kind of just makes sense, doesn't it? To warm the tissues up and make them work for you. Beautiful, rather than just trying to put a passive stretch on it. Most of you are on the second round with the knee turned out. Beautiful. Really try to explore the end range there. Yeah. Whether you end up taking one of these straps home or you have one at home, hang it over your doorknob when you get home tonight, like the doorknob of your pantry or your bathroom or something that you're going to use. And you'll see your strap hanging there and it will remind you, oh yeah, I should go use that thing, rather than tossing it in a basket somewhere and forgetting about it. Try to keep it somewhere where it's visible and get into a routine and little self-help. And beautiful. Please don't rush through this. When you feel you have finished, just take a break for a moment so that I know you're done. Maybe just put your strap down and find a quiet pose for just a sec. And everybody catch up.
So the straps are ours if we need them.
Yes. Teresa ordered these brand new ones, and I think they're $10. Is that right?
What? Oh my God. I'll take a few. $5 for a 10-foot strap. Somebody's not making any money on that. That's awesome. They're good too. If your muffler happens to fall off, you can strap it back up. There's lots of uses for it. Beautiful. How's everybody feeling? Let's really get into our hamstrings now. Do you know where your hamstrings begin and where they end? Some of you do. Maybe come sit up for just a second. These TheraBand things I have on here simulate some hamstring action, although they've kind of gotten messed up a little bit. Anywho, this is the back of you. These are your sit bones, right? The bottom of that you're sitting on them. That's where your hamstrings begin. And I don't take for granted everybody knows any of this stuff. Your hamstrings are muscles, right? They're skeletal muscles. They attach on the sit bone. They come down the back of the leg. There's 3 of them. One of them attaches here on this fibula on the outside, and the other 2 come down and they attach on the inside, your tibia. So they fan from your sit bones down the backs of your legs as you come forward. So what's the problem with your hamstrings? Hamstrings do 2 main things in our body. One of them, they flex your knee. So when you walk and you pick your leg up, my hamstring is doing that. And then my foot hits the ground and my hamstring works to extend my hip. So at the hip, it extends, and at the knee, it flexes. The problem is when your hamstrings are tight and you try to bend over, that's what happens. Your pelvis comes under you like that versus that. This saves your back. That's hamstring lengthening. And this is loading of your lumbar spine. So I hate to say it, but for most guys, when they find out I'm a yoga teacher, like, oh, I'm so bad at yoga, I can't touch my toes. And what do? They do that. Oh, please don't do that. What we're looking for is to get your hammies to lengthen and we can soften ourselves down to the earth. So as we're going through this, envision your hammies there in what they're doing. So the classic 5-way belt stretch, Supta Padangustasana, that I've added a whole bunch of stuff to. Most of you know it. We'll give you a real quick demo here on the bottom of the foot, right? Taking it up, taking it over, taking it to the side, and then rolling over. So the problems with this is people pick their leg up, they pick their whole pelvis up. We're trying to keep our sacrums down and our back arched. I want you to think about what you're doing with your hip. Your hip releases down. So let's go through this. I'm going to talk really slowly and see if you can follow through. You might stagger on your mat so you don't get a foot in the face, or move your mat out a little bit farther. This should be a holiday. This should be a luxurious resort for you. Let's see if we can find some really sweet release into our hammies. Start on your backs, friends. Have both knees bent, feet on the floor. Find your purpose and your place. Take the strap around the bottom of the right foot and straighten out your right leg. Take it up to the sky. Beautiful. Pause there. Lengthen your neck. If you're on your crown of your head, you're on the back of the skull. Maybe you need a blanket underneath your head. Got one end of the strap in each hand. Sacrum is anchored. Go ahead and pull the toes down towards the face. That's your calf stretch. Gastrocnemius. That's also a piece of your hamstring at the bottom. Go ahead and use the strap and see if you can straight leg raise. Pull that leg back a little bit more. Try to get your hip to about 90 degrees. Keep your ankle stable. Don't let it move. And you'll take the strap and run it from the ball of your foot down to your heel like you're toweling off your back in the morning. And what you're doing here is warming up all the acupressure points in the bottom of your feet. Beautiful. Go ahead, bring the strap back up. It's at the metatarsals now, right where the ball of the foot is. More science. Pull down on the strap and at the same time, like a gas pedal, push your foot up into the strap. That same thing we just did, right? The quad contracts. Go ahead and give a little pull with the hands and try to find more length to your hamstring. Straighten out your left leg now, slide it down on the floor. You don't have to have your hip at 90 degrees of flexion. If your hamstrings are tight, it'll be a little bit lower. See if you can find the peace in the pose. Pause here, a little bit of tug on the strap. Beautiful. Let's keep the hip in the same amount of flexion now. We're going to drop it out to the side. So let the right leg out to the right. You can have the strap in both hands and guide that right leg out to the right side. Go ahead and look at your toes of your right foot. Point them to the back of the room or maybe even down towards the floor as you externally rotate that hip. Pause there. That's the inside hamstrings, the inseam. Part of the adductor muscles as well. If you rolled off your left butt cheek, gently put it back down on the floor again. There you go. Delicious. Pick the leg back up to straight leg raised position. Pause there and switch the strap to the left hand. Yep. Take that right leg across your body 45 degrees. So don't roll over yet. Keep your sacrum down. Yep. And how about taking your right hand into your hip crease and push down on your hip? So if you push down on your hip, the joint goes into a really nice alignment and you tend to release as if somebody came and put their hand on the top of your thigh and gave a pull down. Beautiful. And a little bit more freedom in your movement. Yeah, it's a miracle. It's called arthrokinematics, joint movements. Delicious. Bring yourself back up, straight leg raise. Pause there for a moment, maybe a little pull on the strap. And let's roll it over now. So bend your left knee, put your foot on the floor, bridge up enough that you can clear your pelvis. Be careful as you roll over onto your left side that you don't knock into any cameras or computers, and put the right foot down on the floor. You got it. Big toe goes on the floor. Roll your whole body over so your shoulder, everything comes off the ground. Yep. Beautiful. Strap in your left hand. Crawl your underneath leg to the back of the mat now. So crawl it back behind you. Under it goes. You got it. And the right hand will grab your toes, your instep, maybe your shin. Delicious. And let your right shoulder release to the earth. Lovely. Turn your gaze over your right shoulder. See if you can find the peace in the pose here. And we'll luxuriate for a few moments, a few breaths. Trying to release the shoulder down, softening and opening. We rotate through our thoracic spine, so don't rotate below. Try to keep your thoracic doing the work. And find your slow, easy release. Turn your gaze towards the windows. Beautiful. Beautiful. Anybody holding their breath? No. Few things happen when you hold your breath, right? You can pass out. It's going to come out somewhere. So that old yoga phenomenon. Delicious. How many times do we do this pose and we just boom, up, out, move on? Oh, this is a beautiful way to really unwind. If you're holding your underneath leg, release it. Roll back onto your back, no boomerang legs. Right leg to the sky, left leg on the floor. You're in the same position you started with. And let's take 3 long, slow, deep breaths here. Left leg long out on the floor. Imaginary arm in the top of the right hip crease, giving a little pull down. Yep. And then a lengthen. Delicious. This is something to work on, shall we, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise it's so boring. Nice work. Beautiful. You guys are great sports here. Beauteous. Bend your knee, take the strap off the bottom of your foot, put the strap down next to your left side. You don't have to hold it. It'll still be there. And take a breath or two here. This is what I love, the sensations, right? Right and left. What do they feel like? Let's see if we can get the left side to feel somewhat like the right. Yep. Bend your knees, sweeties, feet on the floor. Take the strap on the bottom of the left foot and straighten out your left leg. Right leg's going to stay bent, sacrum on the ground, back of the skull on the earth. See if you can really use the arthrokinematics thing of releasing the left hip, letting it release down, soften. Beautiful, so that you can find some straight leg raise. Pull down on the strap to dorsiflex the ankle and stretch your calf. And then do your towel off. Towel off the bottom of the foot. Don't let the ankle move too much, but keep it stable and warm the bottom of the foot. Good. Bring it to rest. Pull down on the strap. Push up with the foot. Accelerator. Left quad contracts. Straighten out your right leg. Slide it down the floor. There we go. Supta Padangustasana. On our backs, stretching our hammies, releasing the tension from our backs, our spines. Everybody's face is angelic right now. How sweet. No torture. How about right hand on the strap? Maybe both if it feels better for you. And let your leg out to the left. Don't change the angle of flexion in your hip. Just abduction out to the side. Straighten your right leg long down the mat. Somebody's got you at your ankle, giving a pull. You got it. Awesome. Go ahead and look over at your left foot. Turn your toes to the back of the room, maybe towards the floor, and open up those adductor muscles. Straight leg raise back up to the heavens. Switch the strap to the right hand. Maybe take your left hand into your hip crease. Push down on the hip crease as you take that left leg across the body. Pressing down on the hip crease usually allows us to access that lateral hamstring. A little bit more attention. Perfect placement of your hand, my dear. Most of yoga practice is experiential, right? We just come in the room and kind of feel what's going on in our bodies. Some of it can be guided with science. Beautiful. Straight leg, raise it up again. And let's get ready to roll. Bend your right knee, put it on the floor, foot on the floor. Bridge up enough that you can clear the pelvis, roll over onto your right side. Bring your shoulder, everything goes along for the ride. Switch the strap to the right hand. Underneath leg, crawl into the back of the mat. Maybe grab toes, instep, arch of your foot, whatever's grabbable or nothing. Pull the heel close to the buttock and then roll your shoulder onto the floor and bring yourself around. Get to know your neighbor. Ideal world, that left leg's going to be on the ground, not hovering. So if it can't come to the ground, get a prop and put your foot on the prop. That will definitely help. You don't want to hover because you're just using your musculature rather than relaxing it. Put your foot up on there, honey. There you go. And if possible, that underneath leg bends a little bit. Yummy, beautiful. Roll from the ribs, and you got it. The ribs is where we roll, yup, and then turn your gaze. Doesn't it help to know where it's supposed to come from, right? Rather than, I don't know how my body moves. I don't know where that happens. We turn from our ribs up. So don't turn your low back. That doesn't help. That just creates torque. If you're holding your underneath leg, release it, no boomerangs. Roll back onto your back, right leg's on the floor, left leg's up in the sky. You'll do your 3 long, slow, deep, intentional breaths. With every exhalation, going a little deeper into the pose, if that feels right and acceptable for you. Feel the warmth, right? Like a beautiful warm compress on your hamstring. Like you just got out of a warm bathtub and your hammies are all loosened up and ready to go. Delicious. When you're ready, bend the left knee, take the strap off the bottom of your foot, put it down next to your body. Luxuriate for a moment or two, a breath or two. Feel what you've done to your body and your mind over all this time together. Come on, sit up again. And while I'm demonstrating this, go ahead and put your straps back into their loopy thing. So, what are the 2 areas of the body that we talked about before? Thoracic spine and hamstring, right? I love this. So I'm going to take the looped strap, I'm going to put it over my head, and it's going to be as close to under my armpits as I can get it to go. So way high up. I'm going to put myself onto my back. I'm going to have the tail end of the strap where I can grab it. I'm going to put my foot on the bottom. I'm going to straighten out my leg. So I can't quite straighten my leg here, loosen the strap, or see if, there it is, you can find the length. I'm going to even slide this little blanket underneath my head. So look what's happening here, friends. As I push my foot up, it's grabbing my thoracic spine and whoop, taking it up off the floor out of that flexion. And then, if it feels right for you, straighten your left leg. And we're going to hold this. You can do a little bit of side to side if you'd like to mobilize the hip. And as time goes on, just grab this tail end and tighten it up a little bit as your tissues start to release. So we're moving more now into a restorative phase. So we'll hold this for a bit of time. See if you can have the strap up as high under those armpticus as it goes. Notice as you push with your foot or pull down on the tail end, your thoracic spine de-rounds and moves in towards an extended position. I invite you to close your eyes. Find the rhythm of your breath. If the mind is wandering and you're already on to what's for dinner and all that, come back to your breath. Feel your hammies. Passive stretching of our hamstrings after all that warm-up. This is when you'll make the gains, friends. Whatever you might be holding, release it. Perhaps tighten up the strap a notch. It feels like your hammies have responded. They're just waiting for the cues that, okay, I'm all right here. Some of you are already doing it. Take your hand to the back of your hamstrings. I love it. It's instinctual. Yeah, just warm up those strings a little bit. Make nice, right? Nice and soft, and maybe getting into some of the fibers and giving it the okay to just release. There you go. Love you, hammies. Mr. Semimembranosus. Lovely. Is there any reason why you can't do this at home? No, there isn't. You'll get into the routine and you'll see, oh my goodness, I can make myself feel so good. Just in the interest of time here, we'll switch to the other leg. You can be really fancy about it. Bend the right knee a little bit, take your left leg up, put your left foot into the loop and take your right leg out. You might have to loosen the loop a little bit if lefty, right? If lefty is not quite caught up yet. Exactly. And then go home and find your comfort there. Strap as high up into the armpits as you can get it to go, so that upper thoracic de-rouse. There's something really beautiful about this one. Good. Let's hang out here for a few breaths. Enjoy the ride. And some of you should be massage therapists. I love where your hands are going. And really see you betwixt and between the fibers. Nice. Yeah, lovely. Softening your hamstrings, lengthening your hamstrings, getting in touch with your hamstrings, freeze your back. I've seen it happen thousands of times, getting the hamstrings to unwind and back pain dissolving or lessening. All the pulleys are softened. All the marionette strings are lengthened. We have more mobility and flexibility. Nice work, guys. Bend your right knee, put your foot on the floor, take your foot out from the strap, down on the ground it goes. Come roll on your side, come sit up for a moment. Let's give you another beauty. So it's the same strap, same idea, it's in the loop. What you're gonna do this time, again, you want the tail end where you can grab it. You're gonna start with the strap through the front of the right hip and around the bottom of the left foot. So it's going to be through right hip and around the bottom of the opposite foot. So what's happening here? What we're doing is that left foot is going to push down. You might just want to put it over the top, a little easier to access. You're going to push down with the left foot and you're going to use that left foot. It's going to pull down on that femur bone and take your hands behind your knee and draw the knee a little closer towards the face. And then you can straighten out the right leg, push with the left foot. You'll feel your femur pulls down. And at home, if you happen to have another strap or a robe belt, you'll take it on the bottom of your foot and use it to help to straight leg raise. I did not give you each additional strap because I thought it'd be too confusing. People are like, why do I have two straps? Which one do I use? You get the idea. Can you feel what's happening here? As you press down like an accelerator with your left foot, the strap pulls down on the thigh, right? Like I came around for you before and gives you that. That's okay, honey. That has never happened before to anybody. Nope, I've never seen anybody make a mistake before. So take this one up. You got it, sister. Perfect. And this comes around the bottom of your foot. Yep. And around it goes. Tighten that. This one comes up. And the idea is that that is what you're looking for. That hamstring releases from the better position of your hip. Yeah, guys, looks good. Now's the real test. Switch to the other side. What? It works best in my mind. I just flex my left hip up and take the strap around the front of the left hip. And then it has to go around the bottom of the opposite foot. It doesn't work otherwise. So left hip, yes, girl. Left hip, but right foot.
Got it.
So draw this one up.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Look at her to the left of you. She's got it. Oh, yes, you are. If there's a ring at your door later, it's me checking on you. I love it. Take one more breath here. Open your hamstrings. Yeah, it's a good thing the camera wasn't on her, right? You guys, I love it. Alrighty, bend that left knee a little bit. Yep, slip the belt off. Come sit up for a second. We're in our last pose now. You got two choices. Same belt, right? Same looped belt. You can either have your bolster like this, so that you'll back bend over and your legs will be open. If that's too much, put the bolster under your knees instead for the same thing. Okay, let's do this really slowly so we all get it. Take your straps. It's in a loop. We're going to take it over our back. I'm going to show you this version here where my feet are like this. You with me? So it's in a loop over your back. Delicious. It's really low down, like right by your sacrum and lumbar junction. Okay. Inside your hip creases and around the bottoms or outsides of the feet, and you got your loop end or your tail end here. So if you've chosen to have your pillow like this, get yourself onto your elbows, let yourself down. Oh my goodness, so good. I'm going to pull this. I'm going to push with my feet. Look what's happening here, friends. As I push with my feet, can you see I'm distracting, not like look over there distracting, but a distraction of the pelvis off the low back. It's just so liberating. If you've got your pillow underneath your back, it's the same thing. Your low back is supported, the arch, by the edge of your bolster. Your head needs to be in neutral. If it's dropped over the edge there, see if you can slide the bolster up a little bit or maybe use a blanket. If anybody's cold and would like me to put a blanket over you, just kind of give a little signal with your hand and I can come and blanket you. So this, yes, of course. So thanks for bringing that up. Some folks, maybe with a little restriction in the groins, will do really well with blocks underneath the outsides of their knees so that you don't have to hold your leg. legs. How's that? You got it. So what can happen over time? Press with your feet a little bit, and you'll distract the low back. Yep. Or with the hand on the tail end, or do a combination of both. You're just put yourself into low back traction. You've just released the tension from that whole lumbosacral spine. Your big hearts are wide open. Palms can be turned to the sky, arms at your side. You can take your thumbs and cross them, put them over your heart. You can have your hands above your head, whatever feels right for you, and you can move betwixt and between all those positions. Oh. We have used our brains, we've used our bodies, we've mobilized, we've stretched, we've strengthened, and now we are in repose. What a beautiful thing at the end of your practice, the end of your day, to use your strap, use your bolsters, use all your props you're accumulating to find this restful and calm place. A big piece of our yoga practice is this, the quieting of the mind. All the chitta-vrittis, all those thoughts constantly through our heads. We give ourselves a break. Maybe catch the rhythm of your own breath again for a moment. Witness the breath. And then allow it all to just soften. This amazing gift we have of our practice. Be able to shift our mindset, be able to bring ourselves off the ledge, take care of our physical bodies, to dissolve back into a quiet and calm space. Of course, you won't do 2 hours of a strap every day, but pick and choose a few of these poses that might resonate with you, or maybe the ones that don't, probably the ones you need to do the most. Hang your strap over a doorknob and get to work. Find the marble on the back of your skull, let your head rock so slowly side to side. Start to wake the system. Might take your hands to the outsides of your legs, start to move your legs back together, and perhaps you can just slip your feet right out of that loop. Roll over on your right side away from your heart. Maybe slide the bolster up and let your head rest on your bolster. Stay on your right side. Transition position, inspiring thoughts of generosity, kindness, altruism, seva. Beautiful way to spend the afternoon. Thank you so much. Live yogis and virtual yogis. Thanks for allowing me to do what I love to do and inspire you to continue with your practice. Inhale, and on your exhale, draw yourself back up. Maybe take a real holiday, sit on the edge of your bolster. Let the knees descend towards the floor, pelvis tilts forward, heart rises, backs of the hands on the legs, thumb and index touch, elbows back towards hips. Remember, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. May the thoughts, words, and actions of our own lives contribute in some way to that happiness and freedom for all. Perhaps join me in the chant, the 4 words, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Inhale. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Lovely. Thumbs to your heart. Lift your heart. Let's pause here. Remind ourselves to be so grateful for all we have. Take your thumbs to your third eye between your eyebrows. It's a still contemplation point, an all-seeing eye, an ESP eye. It's our clarity spot. Let's go ahead and bow to our beautiful straps. Namaste. Thank you, Michigan Yogis, for showing up on one of our sunny days. I know it was a lot to get in here today, but I hope that you have gleaned what you were looking for. A lot of this stuff is on my Red Hawk Physical Therapy YouTube channel. There's a recording too that if you'd like, that Teresa can get to you as well. I'm sure that some of this will stick with you, but if you'd like to buy one of the straps, $5, come on, can't be beat. You can take care of that with lovely Teresa. And thank you so much for all of your tech support and all of this stuff. And thank you guys at home. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for being here. Yay, there they are. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you, Harvey.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.